Chapter review. This chapter describes the types of unemployment, define full employment, and explain the link between unemployment and real GDP. Unemployment can be frictional, structural, or cyclical. Frictional unemployment arises from normal labor market turnover. Structural unemployment arises when changes in technology or international competition change the skills needed to perform jobs or change the location of jobs. Cyclical unemployment fluctuates over the business cycle, rising during a recession and falling during an expansion. Full employment occurs when there is no cyclical unemployment, when all the unemployment are frictional or structural. And at full employment, the unemployment rate equals the natural unemployment rate. Potential GDP is the real GDP produced when the economy is at full employment. As the unemployment rate fluctuates around the natural unemployment rate, real GDP fluctuates around potential GDP and the output gap fluctuates between negative and positive values. Practice problem. Each of the following people is actively seeking work. Classify each as either frictional, structural, or cyclical unemployment. Perry lost his job when foreign competition bankrupted his company. It is structural. Sam did not like his boss and so he quit his job is frictional. Sherry has graduated from college looking for job. It is frictional. Jose was fired from when his company downsized in response to a recession. It is cyclical. Pat was laid off from her job at the Gap because customers liked the fashions at JCPenney better. Frictional. In a recession, what happens to the output gap? In a recession, real GDP is less than potential GDP, so the output gap is negative. How does the average time a worker spends as unemployed change during a recession? The average duration of unemployment, that is, length of time a person is unemployed, rises in a recession. What is the relationship between full employment, the natural unemployment rate, and potential GDP? When the economy is at full employment, the unemployment rate is the natural unemployment rate. When the economy is at full employment, the amount of GDP produced is potential GDP. If the unemployment rate exceeds the natural unemployment rate, what is the relationship between real GDP and potential GDP? Is the output gap at this time positive or negative? If the unemployment rate exceeds the natural unemployment rate, the real GDP is less than the potential GDP, the output gap is negative. These are true and false. Multiple choice.